What's up, y'all? It's me, Erica. What's today, Wednesday? What's going on? We are down here. It is Wednesday, I believe. I think it is Wednesday. I didn't come down here yesterday because there has not been anything that I really wanted to talk about. I know things have been happening, but it's like I really don't want it. I really don't. It's nothing that I'm really interested in talking about. So I actually have been using the time because it's been very slow. Like there's like a rumor that Nicki Minaj and Cardi B are going to be working together. I'm like, oh, you guys, it really has to be a slow news week because y'all just coming up with anything, huh? And just anything to get the news going. So I didn't really have much to talk about. I did see this video with Meg the Stallion, and she wrote an article in the New York Times. It's what I read this morning. That was actually pretty good. Megan, shout out to Megan the Stallion for writing that article, that op piece in the New York Times. The Lakers won the championship 106-93 to Miami. I know that was the other day, but I didn't come down here. So, I mean, I did, but I was talking about Potomac. So, I wanted to talk about the Megan Thee Stallion article. And then I had a question that I had posed, or a statement that I had posed on Twitter that kind of wanted to kind of expound on and maybe ask you guys some questions. And then you can share with me in the comments what your theories are, or truths or beliefs, and how you feel about these questions. So first, let's talk about Megan Thee Stallion. She, there was a video, like a short clip that came out. D. Ramsey, she tagged me in it. Shout out to D. Ramsey. Let's see, here it goes.
She's got to be strong because that's just the expectation. Loving herself, but not too much, because then she's conceited.
So,
but he's freaking the sheets.
So y'all saw this, right?
Love, but always loving the wrong one. Twerking for her man, but not with her friends. Being constantly told she's too much or not enough.
The most disrespected person is the black woman.
Constantly having to prove she's a victim because society sides with a man.
So I'm not going to play it because she got her song playing in the back. Well, not her song, Eazy-E song, NWA song playing in the back. So I don't want a copyright strike, but you guys know what it is. So she did also an op piece for New York Times, which was actually really good. Basically, she is starting, or she is actually becoming a face of this Protect Black Women movement. Right? And making her voice heard, making sure that she now is using this platform to promote protecting Black women. I see some people responding like, oh, she's using a movement. And I thought to myself, I said, I think it's so funny how everybody was so like on board with Monique and her antics with Netflix. Everybody was on board with that. And to me, that was someone blatantly co-opting a movement for their own personal agenda. Like literally, that's how I feel about Monique and her situation. And I think a lot of people are feeling the same way about Megan Thee Stallion and this Protect Black Women movement. Then her saying that she now understands that violence against women is not just two people being in a relationship. Violence against women can happen at all, levels of relationships. She said that in her article. But I think that, as her being a victim and survivor of violence against her at the hands of a Black man, that she is not co-opting any type of movement. She is the movement. She is speaking for herself, right? You might say, well, Erica, yeah, Monique speaking for herself. Yeah, she's speaking for herself and only for herself, right? Now, do we think Meg Thee Stallion would be on this movement if she wasn't a victim of it? That's a very good question. Sometimes people don't know the severity of a movement until it actually happens to them, until it hits close to home, until it's someone they know or they themselves, right? I think it's incredible that she is doing this. I think after everything that's happened or is happening with her, the fact that she makes a statement in this article that says, my initial silence about what happened was out of fear for myself and my friends. Even as a victim, I have been met with skepticism and judgment. The way people have publicly questioned and debated whether I played a role in my own violent assault proves that my fears about discussing what happened here, unfortunately, warranted. And she says, after a lot of self-reflection on that incident, I've realized the violence against women is not always connected to being in a relationship. Instead, it happens because so many men treat all women as objects, which helps them justify inflicting abuse against us when we choose to exercise our own free will. And a lot of women suffer from that as well. They are unfortunately what we say is suffering from internalized misogyny. Down deep, really don't like women. You, a woman yourself, right? And people are like, oh, how could that be? I'm a woman. How can I not like women? Listen to how you talk about women. Listen to what points of view you align yourself with when a man and a woman have opposing points of view. Watch where you sit. Right? And trust me, I know, because I used to sit on that side. And it's crazy because I am an example of how you can unlearn some things and how you cannot even realize that you were always siding with the man's point of view. You always made points that at the end of the day didn't serve the woman, it served the man. Despite the transgression of the man, right? This doubt that somehow, there's doubt. I guess you could say there's doubt in everything, right? But this overwhelming energy that comes from men and women when a woman is letting people know that she's been victimized, I was in an altercation. I was assaulted by my brother, right? And as when he tells the story, and the other man in my family who repeats the story the way that my brother tells the story, my father, like they like, to me, in my mind, they came together to say, like, we're going to figure out how to justify what you did to Erica. Right? We have to tell the story in order for it to be like, oh, well, she deserved that shit. Right? Not and take the eye off of this grown man violated this grown woman in a room full of other grown women, and the one man, the other man who was supposed to protect the daughter or the woman, did not even move or get up. And I always thought to myself, I felt like my father was like giving him permission to do that. I don't know if they talked about it before, like if she gets out of line or if she says anything crazy, because I'm the one in the family who talks crazy. So when you guys say like things about Candace and stuff like that, I'm the one. I will take a razor blade out the side of my mouth and slit your throat with my words. And I will have you thinking about everything she said to me, thinking like, damn, she really saw me for who I am. You understand what I'm saying? With my words. I don't have to put my hands on you to crush your damn throat, okay? But at the end of the day, I felt like it was okay, right? So when he tells the story, he says that as he approached me, I kicked at him. Now, mind you, when you think about, I'm going to tie these in together how people will tell a story to make it feel like when a man assaults a woman, the people will tell the story so that the violence that was inflicted against the woman is justified. When my brother tells the story, he says that when he walked Now, he probably doesn't tell it like this, but I'm going to give you a visual. When he walked about 15 feet to get to me around a kitchen island past another man to assault me, as he approached me in his assault and aggression, I kicked my foot up at him. Now, you would think, then he proceeded to choke me until my eyes rolled into the back of my head, my father sitting there and didn't move. I will repeat that story, and I will continue to tell that story. You may not like to hear it. You may not like to hear that you sat down and watched it happen. But I'll continue to tell the story because there's so many times that I've seen this repeated, and I identify with that, right? To the point that I understand what it's like to be blamed for violence inflicted upon you. When my son's father, who also assaulted me, tells the story, he says, "Oh, she's a big girl." I got that. Trust me. She's a big girl. I'm 5'5". This nigga 6'3", almost 300 pounds. I'm 190 pounds at the time. Seven days postpartum, and you tell people, "Oh, she hit me." Let me tell you something. I don't agree with people. I don't agree with people putting their hands on people, but I will defend myself. You will not be able to hit me and you not get hit back. Trust and believe. We gonna be fighting. I don't give a goddamn how big you are. If you put your hands on me, we gonna be fighting, right? That's it, because I'm defending myself. And what did good old Malcolm X say? When somebody puts their hands on you, you make sure they see their grave. You understand me? So the quote doesn't go like that, but you go look it up. Somebody puts their hands on you, you make sure they see their goddamn grave. So I'm gonna fight. Trust and believe. And when he retells the story, and guess what? He has a woman who actually believed the story. He has a woman who actually believed the story. So I have seen both instances where I have been examples of both instances where I have been assaulted and the story being retold to make it seem like the man who assaulted me had a reason to assault me. Understand? So I've seen it. So when Meg says that I can't believe that people were trying to figure out how to justify, yes, because the way that it works in our society, the man's legacy has to be upheld. The man's legacy is of more value than the woman. The woman is the object. The woman is the one to have the baby. The woman is the one to keep the house. The woman is the one. She's the object. She's the mule and the mattress. And that's how a lot of men, and I say most men, I won't even say some, I say most, feel like that, whether they actually practice it, whether they exercise it, or maybe they just hold that view internally and they don't say it out loud or even do anything about it. But there are a lot of people who only see women as objects. Women themselves only see them as objects. When you arguing with a trans woman, all you talking about is your pussy. You're an object. You've deduced yourself down to an object. So not only is there men who are the way that Meg is describing, there are women who align themselves and identify are so male identified that they don't even understand it, that they sit down and they take the man's point of view. And I'm not saying that when a woman and a man are arguing, you just, for the sake of bias, you just take the woman's side because she's a woman. No, I'm not saying that. When I'm talking about when two people are in conflict and it's clear that the man is wrong and you are a woman and you're trying to figure out a way to make the woman wrong, and you're looking at it, and it's crazy is because you could be two women sitting there looking at the same thing, and the one who suffers from internalized misogyny is going to make sure, damn sure, that her own looking at the woman, she can't even identify with the woman. She identifies with the man and his problem and his struggle and his woes and tribulations. These are just thoughts flowing from this Megan thing. You understand? From the moment we begin to navigate the intricacies of adolescence, we feel the weight of this threat and the weight of contradictory expectations and misguided preconceptions. Many of us begin to put too much value on how we are seen by others. That's if we are seen at all. You struggle against stereotypes and is seen as angry or threatening when we try to stand up for ourselves. There's not much room for passionate advocacy if you're a black woman. You know how many times people have told me, lower your voice, be quiet, you're too loud. When I'm talking about something that I have a reason to be loud and angry about. How many times, right? How many times? I know I might be all over the place. I'm just talking down here. What time is it? I got to keep my time. With the Megan situation, I'm glad that she wrote the article. There are a lot of things that, you know, we have seen how collectively, how people have responded to this. It's not everybody is against Megan. It's not everybody is for Tory Lanez. But it's the way that the situation is, the way that people speak about it, the words used to talk about it, right? And then it being so male identified that you have to deduce him shooting her because somehow he's the object of affection between her and a white woman. Like the tropes can't get no more tropey when we're talking about this. For some odd reason, Tory Lanez is the object of affection between a white woman and a black woman, and somehow he's chose the white woman, and it's made the black woman jealous, and now so he had to shoot her as a response. They can't get no tropier, okay? Like, come on, y'all. I have been, like in the last couple of days, I have been analyzing and unpacking my relationship to racism, my relationship to patriarchy, and I have been just asking myself these questions. I wanted to ask some of you some questions. The one, I'm taking this class or this course, Embodying Liberation, where we are unpacking our relationships with oppressive systems in this matrix, right? And one of the things that she was talking about is toxic femininity. Now, a few months ago, I asked two people close to me how did they feel men? How did they feel about, do they feel like I hate men, right? Like, yeah, you know, I feel like your experiences with men has really shaped your perspective on most men, which is a very, very true statement, right? When I realized that I was like operating from a space of, I was more male identified than I was like looking at things from a woman's point of view, I wanted to make sure that there was still a balance, right? I didn't want to make sure that it's not the men that I hate, right? It's the system in which they operate, right? This system of patriarchy, right? Talked about racism week before last week was patriarchy. And some of the questions that we were asking was what unconscious biases that do you subscribe to, right? You don't realize you subscribe to these biases when you start talking about things and situations, even things that are going on in the news and situations that people are having, and you start talking about them. Listen to the words that you use when you're talking about situations. Like, step out of it and be like, okay, so what did I say? What words did I use about this situation? Was I unconsciously biased? Did I see it from this perspective because I was black? Did I see it from this perspective because I was a woman? Did I see it from this perspective because I was a man? Like, what was the unconscious bias that you kind of attached to your point of view regarding a specific topic? So just think of, there's something to think about. Talked about how, what have I internalized? And you can ask this to yourself. What have I internalized regardless of identity And what systems have I participated in, and how do I uphold those systems, right? How did my reactivity to a situation, how did it feed into the system that I'm trying to eliminate or trying to balance out to where it is not harmful to people? So those are one questions to ask. We talked about confronting internalized ideas about patriarchy and understanding how, like I posted on Twitter, how we are so identified, and I talk about this every now and again, we're so self-identified to a particular struggle, whether it's desirability, whether it's patriarchy, whether it's classism, racism, capitalism. We're so addicted to that identity and to that struggle that who would you be if you weren't fighting against whatever it is that you're against, right? I'm trying to fix this. I don't like the way it looks. Sorry. Like what would your identity be if the thing that you are fighting against actually was eradicated? Who would you be, right? Only got a few minutes left. So I posted on Twitter, addicted to struggle so much, you would really be lost if you eradicated the very thing that you say you're against, right? And I think about that with my relationship to patriarchy, to racism, how I respond to these things, what actually, like about a year ago, I decided, like a year and a half ago, I decided some things do not deserve my emotional labor. They don't, it doesn't require me to react. If I don't feel good about talking about it, I will not talk about it. You know, every day we talk about protecting our energy, right? I tell you every day. And part of protecting my energy is I don't want to talk about every single thing that I know doesn't put me in a good space, right? So some things you guys will send me, Erica, talk about this. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not giving it doesn't deserve my emotional labor. It doesn't deserve it. It just doesn't deserve it. There's no other explanation. Just doesn't deserve it. Talked about this idea, the root cause of these systems being a divide and conquer. And I see that a lot when it comes to things related to men and women. It's this, like, the man's need and the woman's need to win something instead of understand where each are coming from. It's like, I gotta win this. It's a constant competition. It's a constant, like a gender war all the time. And sometimes I'm just like, I don't even want to deal with that, because so many people are identified with that they don't, hold on, it's bothering me. They're so identified with that they don't. Oh, it's worse now. No, actually it's cute. Come on, bitch, you better do it. You better do it like that. But yeah, so that's what some of the things that we were talking about. We were talking about confronting the internalized parts of ourselves that we identify, how we feed into those systems, how we feed into the system of patriarchy by like being not like over, like when you overdo it, right? There's no balance in it. For identification with the victim energy, right? You're just always being victimized. You're always in this struggle. That's why I don't like the quote that everybody plays from Malcolm X, because it's almost like you're feeding that energy. And like I saw somebody one time with, I talked about this before, somebody with that Malcolm X quote on their shirt. And I'm like, why would you want to? Words mean things. So why would you want to pull that energy to yourself as you being the most disrespected, as you being this, the over identity with being the victim? That is a part of that toxic femininity. Also, the drama queen, right? The healer, the slave, the over caregiver, the good girl, the rescuer, the people pleaser, the servant, the scapegoat, You don't speak up. You give away your time and energy, and then you feel taken advantage of. You feel guilty. You sacrifice yourself over someone else. You're in constant one-sided relationships, unhealthy one-sided relationships. There's unrequited feelings in relationships that you get in with people. You have to buy your way into a space to take care of someone. You become who they want you to be. Like a role that we play in these. What role do we play in these systems, right? How do we talk about patriarchy without becoming the victim? Right? How do we talk about racism without becoming the victim? How do we still, because we like, again, we do want to eliminate those things. We want to eliminate those structures, but we don't want to become so identified that we have to actually maintain our role in it in order for us to be struggling and fighting again. And that's what I'll be telling y'all, like, aren't y'all tired of fighting? Like, what do you want to be fighting in like that, in that energy for all the time? You don't want to be in a fight or flight mode all the time. That's too much on your nervous system, period. That is just too much. It affects so many things. Like, you don't have to participate in all of them. Like I said, the things, some of the topics that y'all want to talk about, I'll be like, no, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. So I want to talk about things that like we could learn from, you know what I'm saying? Lesson in everything, but some lessons are not for me to talk about. Sometimes you just got to experience the shit so that you can understand it yourself. Let me see what other of my notes say. Patriarchy is out of balance with nature itself. It just is out. It's just a system that does not, it's out of balance. And you can look at, you know I like kind of tied everything in with protect black women and Megan Thee Stallion. So I don't know, guys. I just think that we do have to ask ourselves how we feed into these systems ourselves. How do we participate in these systems ourselves? The systems that we are trying to remove, how do we participate in feeding into that, right? And so those are some questions that I wanted to ask you guys, and maybe you can just put it down in the comments. Now, for this particular video, I know, like, I have been, like, speaking of comments, I have been deleting some comments. I'm not going to, when you guys start calling each other names in the comments, that is whack as fuck. No, I'm not gonna let that go. Like, if I see it, I'm gonna delete your comment. I'm not gonna let you. I don't care what the person said to you. You don't have to start calling people stupid. You sound dumb. You sound like an idiot. You don't have to attack the person. You can attack what they're talking about and use. I don't know. I just don't like. So I don't like for anybody to be. If you don't agree with somebody, it's okay. You are free to disagree. You are free to disagree. You don't have to agree with nothing nobody says. You are free to disagree. You are free to come up with your own truth of whatever I'm talking about, whatever situation. What I'm saying is not written in stone, honey. Next year I might be saying something different, okay? So it is what it is. But at the end of the day, we are not going to get into the comments and attack each other personally. Right? We talk about these shows with these people. Learn how to use your words without talking about somebody. I disagree with some of the things y'all say. Y'all disagree with some of the things y'all say. If you feel like you can't disagree with somebody without calling them names, you need to strengthen your argument and come back. That's it. Delete it. Go to backspace. Once you start calling somebody names, backspace. Then say, how can I strengthen my argument without attacking the person? And that'll probably be better for you and your development as you grow, okay? All right, you guys, I gotta go. Maybe I'll come back as I'm learning this stuff, as I'm unpacking the stuff, we'll come back and we'll talk about it. Talk about the divine masculine. The divine masculine, emotionally mature, heart-based, spiritually inclined, connected, truly benevolent, upheld integrity, a value system, truthfulness, and balance. So shout out to those of us who embody divine masculine and feminine energies. We speak of these things as energies, right? Just because you have a vagina doesn't mean that you are inherently feminine. That is an energy, right? Just because you have a penis doesn't mean you are inherently masculine, right? It's an energy. And then when you get into society, other people who have identified and have taken on those what it means to be a man, or to perform masculinity, or to perform femininity, those are just very like black and white binary ideologies. So if you look at it as an energy and understand that you and I both can embody both, because we are of both, and we are a spectrum of both. We can be at any time access energy where it's on a spectrum and it's not so black and white. You can be in that gray area, and it's cool too. It's all love, right? So that's all I wanted to talk about today. Hopefully you guys have a great day. Today is Wednesday. Mercury is in retrograde. It'll be in retrograde for 21 days. Do not be afraid of retrograde. This is a time to really like reflect and relax, retreat, remember. Don't start anything new. Don't commit to anything for the next 21 days, but just kind of like revisit some things that you've been working on in yourself, and take some time to take care of yourself. Look at all the crows are coming. Take some time to take care of yourself. It is a crucial time for self-care during Mercury retrograde. So don't look at it like as a bad thing. I put something on my Instagram that I got from the Farmer's Almanac regarding Mercury retrograde, and you can kind of read that and just see, like, you don't have to be scared of Mercury retrograde. It's a time to be like remembering like who you are, and just like don't start anything new. We need to just, I think a lot of times we need to get away from the things that we're against and start talking about the things, the positive, more positive things that we're for, and and then focus our energy on what we're for instead of so much on what we're against. Because I really truly believe that our identities get so tethered to the struggle, and have for so many years, that I don't know what a lot of us would do if we didn't have to get up and fight every day. I don't want to get up and fight every day. I want to get up and be at ease. I want to be calm. I want to be like in my bubble. You understand what I'm saying? Like in my energy field, like fully powered. And I want to be what I want to be. So I think we should focus on, look at that little baby crow, it's so cute. We want to be fully actualized people, not tethered to struggles. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm here to say, y'all. Take care of each other, protect your energy. Let's get down in the comments. Peace.